gentlemen, welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 583 for the week of Monday, April 10th, 2023. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who else is here this week?
Brock Sager.
And not Charlie.
Oh.
Changing it up.
Yeah.
Kevin's
I'm just changing it up, yeah.
Pulling a Toby here. That would be Kevin.
Oh, Kev, pull a full Toby. Like, just walk away from the podcast. Just start eating something.
That was Toby. That was Toby that joined our recording last week. Said nothing. He joined and fell asleep.
He did?
So, yeah.
Is he just using our voices as like background noise to go to sleep to or something?
I don't know. I asked him if he was going to be on this week, and he said yep. And then he told me today nope. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. Maybe he'll jump in at some point. I have no idea. He knows where we are. We got some stuff to talk about this week. Some actually big news. We'll get to
which Kevin and I are not prepared for.
That's okay. I'm
prepared for the 100 listener questions you have locked and loaded. Let's hit it.
I got one.
1 minute each, Brock. 1 minute each.
1 minute each.
Listener questions.
Oh man,
I got one question for you. So
if we only have one question, do I give it 100 minutes?
There's we got some news. I'll go through this. And maybe, I don't know. There's no other questions. That's fine. That's okay. We never get questions anymore. You get them on Twitter, but I haven't done that in a while, so I don't know. It's all right. Nobody sends them over in the Patreon. NPD, or formerly NPD. What the hell is NPD called now? It's
National Prostate
it's called something
Day?
else now. NPD used to be the name of the American sales tracking company. They would do books and music and movies and comics and video games and all sorts of stuff. They track sales data.
National publication
data.
Data.
Now I heard they got bought by something else, like Cicada or something weird like that.
Cicada,
something. Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're called. They're called something else. Anyway, we'll call it NPD because I'm never going to call it whatever their new company is. NPD sales data got released for 2022. Brian Hibbs, San Francisco, always does this article, runs it over at The Beat. The Beat did actually a really good breakdown of
you're talking about BookScan?
Some of the BookScan. Yeah, NPD. Yeah, they got bought by something. It's called the something group now. The C something.
They're just the NPD group.
No, it's called there's another company at the bottom, but it's fine. Doesn't matter. I'll look it up later. It's no big deal.
Oh no, we need to be factual on this podcast.
They always go through and pull out all the comic data, and Brian Hibbs does a pretty good job breaking it down. And then The Beat did a really good kind of like mini synopsis of some of the bigger points worth talking about here. So I want to go through that for a little bit of info, because we don't get sales charts anymore, unfortunately, but a little bit of info of how graphic novels are selling in bookstores, Amazon, Walmart, and Comic Hub. Comic Hub is part of NPD, so this does represent actual sales of graphic novels through comic book stores is a part of this. One of the big things with NPD, with the NPD numbers for 2022 is that, despite the huge growth in previous years, 2022 was actually pretty flat, which is not real surprising. The back half of 2022, things really slowed down for most industries. So it's not bad at all. It's incredible. Like, even if sales dropped, they're dropping from an all-time high. So, it should be no surprise that sales on some graphic novels, the overall industry would start to cool off the back half of 2022 and into 2023. But the top 750 titles, sales actually were up 1.02%, but that is a very minor increase over 2021. But that is where the majority of sales are in the top 750. I think NPD something like 50,000 books or something like that. I think there's over 50,000 titles were sold. Over 50,000 unique graphic novels were sold in 2022, and 750 of them represent half of all sales. So you could tell they call it the long tail, right? Because you have all the sales are in the front, and then everything else sells a little bit. This is how the comics industry is. This is how books, music, movies, everything is, right? You get those couple things that sell a shitload, and everything else sells, a little bit. So it should be no real surprise. But if you look at the entire BookScan report for all of 2022, 1.53% growth. So 52 million graphic novels sold across 50,000 titles. So that is a pretty significant amount of books.
The industry's over.
Yeah.
Just
well,
move out. We're done.
The majority of those sales are kids' books and manga, which should not be really surprising. There's something we've talked about for the last couple of years.
Well, that's what we push reading to is kids. We're not pushing reading on adults. We're pushing reading on kids. We want them to learn to read. So there's more of a push towards kids. So having more is a given.
And it is 10% of all sales. So 5.2 million graphic novels. It was the top 20 books. So 10% of all sales are, again, manga's great. Kids' books are great. The vast majority don't sell big. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny stack of books that sell a ridiculous amount. And I will pull up to reference back what those books are. I'll tell you in a second.
Or are you going to make Kevin and I guess?
No. I mean, you can if you want to. Do you want to guess?
I thought that's what we haven't done sales charts in a while, and that's what we do. That's what we give this audience.
Okay.
Is a ridiculous amount.
You guys can guess.
Wait, are we guessing the most popular manga titles?
I'll let you guys guess this. No,
this is the top graphic novels, right?
Well, no. I've got some number one books here from certain publishers and certain genres and certain types of books. So, what is the best-selling comic of 2022? What is the best-selling graphic novel of 2022? I'll give you a hint. It is a kid's book. Well, just tell me the series. It doesn't even have to be the exact book. You're very close. It is not Dogman.
It's Captain Underpants?
You almost had it. You were close.
Oh, is it that middle school kid? Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
No, I mean you're Dogman was close. It's Dave Pilkey. It's his other book.
Oh God, what's his other book? Shit, I forgot.
It'd be Cat Kid.
Oh, okay.
Cat Kid, volume 3.
Cat Kid came out of Dogman, didn't it? So
23,000 copies. Yes. Volume 2 was the number 2 book at 40,000. 400,000. I'm at 40,000. 400,000. Volume 4 is the number 3 book at 325,000 copies. Dogman Volume 10 is the number 4 book at 285,000 copies. There's a Five Nights at Freddy's comic. I haven't seen this. Yeah. It was the number 5 book. Then we are into manga. Would you like to just take can you even... Brock, I know you can't. Kevin's calling it too. Brock got it on the first shot.
I didn't hear what he said.
Man. Oh, Chainsaw Man.
It's what I see around the high school. Is it Chainsaw Man, One Piece, Attack on Titan, or Attack on Titan?
So again, there should be no surprise that the top 3 books. And they're all very close number because I'm going to guess if you're reading manga, these are the 3 books you're going to get. You're going to get the first volume of Chainsaw Man, you're going to get the first volume of Spy X Family, and you're going to get the first volume of Demon Slayer. That's the number 6, 7, and 8 books in a row. And they're all lumped within just a couple thousand copies of each other. So those books are selling.
Now these are the English translation ones, right?
Yes. This is your manga starter pack for 2022, right? Are those 3 books?
You know what you should do? You should just have that in the store. Manga starter pack. No. I mean, you should just have them grouped together for a discount.
For those ones, yeah. I mean, we've had them. Well, I will give you the rounding out the top 10. Babysitter's Club, the new volume 11, was the number 9 book, 255,000 copies, and Dogman Volume 9, Grime and Punishment was the number 10 book, 252,000 copies. Now, I want to look at these numbers here just because people look, graphic novels. Look, I love all this stuff, but let's look at the sales here. Cat Kid, Volume 1, the highest volume was 623,000 copies, all right? What's 623? Let's do some math. 23 divided by 12. That's 52,000 copies a month. 52,000 copies a month is like a mid-selling comic book. Batman sells like 100,000 copies a month. So in the course of a year, Batman sells twice as many copies as the highest selling Cat Kid graphic novel. Again, this is not I'm not trying to talk down on this stuff. It's incredible the numbers of these things move. But single issue comics sell pretty goddamn well too. So like, I don't.
Is this where I say comics are dead again?
Well, I hate it. It makes no sense to me, right?
Well, it's just categorizing, right? Like graphic novels. If you take out the kids books, right? What's the first book, and how far down on the list is it?
For what?
Like an American graphic novel.
Oh, we'll get to that. To that. Chainsaw Man Volume 1, 276,000 copies. Okay, that's really good. That's amazing to sell in a year. But that's only like 20,000 copies a month. That's like a low-selling Marvel or DC comic. And manga volumes are, let's be honest, they are basically the single-issue equivalent of manga. That is how they are released in America. They're serialized. They're released in numbered order in a regular interval. Not monthly, but a regular interval. So what's the difference? I hate this. I mean, people do it just to bash on American comics. I understand this, but what's the difference here? It's like the same thing. Anyway, off my soapbox. Dave Pilkey, 3.7 million graphic novels. That was all the Dogman. Those are all the Dogman books. And Cat Kid. So that is a significant amount of copies. In the top 750, the top selling superhero graphic novel, Western superhero graphic novel. What's the number? What's the character? And what's the book? What's your best guess? Top 750. It's in there. It's in top 750, and it's not at the bottom. So
it's a single character.
Yeah. What character or team or whatever?
Well, I would have said Watchmen.
Okay,
just as a perennial seller,
but Watchmen's on that list.
But it's something newer. You're saying?
I mean, maybe.
Is this like a 2022 release, or is this like an evergreen?
No, it's an evergreen title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Batman Hush?
No. You have the right character. It is Batman.
Is it Court of Owls?
Nope.
It can't be Dark Knight after all this time, can it?
No.
Was it this century or the previous?
Previous. It's an older book. Yep.
Older Batman book. Evergreen. Oh, it's year one.
It is year one.
Wow. I thought of that and specifically didn't say it. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Because it was promoted with the Batman.
It was, yeah.
Oh.
Remember, it was that. It was year one Ego and...
Year one Ego and Dark Knight.
No. It was Long Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
Long Halloween was the other book. Those were the three books that they specifically pushed as being the influence for the Batman. Yeah. So that is at number 257. Yeah.
Take that, millionaire Bruce Wayne.
Now, the Sandman books, all were in the top. I don't have the full list here because it's outside my.
Well, because 5 came out this year, 4 and 5 came out this year, so it would have only been 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah. I'm just looking at Brian's numbers here for what was in the list. I don't have the entire list here, but most of the Sandman numbers were in there. They were actually all the Sandman books were actually the top of the DC selling charts, followed by Year One, Batman Fortnite, the collected edition, Long Halloween, Killing Joke, Batman Who Laughs, Hush, Dark Knight Returns, and Court of Owls. So those are all, Batman, incredibly successful, very incredibly successful character.
Is Black Mirror not on there just because they haven't? It's out of print.
No, Black.
Is it still in print?
Yeah.
It's just fallen out of favor.
And, the question here is, let's look at DC's attempt at hitting that kids market, right? Because all the rest of their books that were aimed exactly at that market that those other books hit are, significantly less. All the Titans books that Beast Boy Loves Raven, Beast Boy, Raven, Primer, let's see, Amethyst, Superman Smashes the Clan.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all, under between 12 and 30,000 copies sold, which, is fine. That's okay, but they're not burning up the charts, right? Also on the list, Watchmen, 29,000 copies, and V for Vendetta, 12,000 copies. And I mean, Watchmen, just 29,000 copies. I mean, it's just money at this point, right? That's just endless money for DC. They don't have to do anything with that. No promotion. They just keep that.
It's just
never stops.
When do we need a new print run? All right, let's go. And then you just sell it.
Yeah.
Was Mouse on there?
Mouse was on there. That is the number 25 book overall, at 177,000 copies. So
we contributed to that.
We were a part of that, and we go through Comic Hub, so our numbers are on there.
50 copies.
We're a not insignificant part of that number. We're a percent of that.
Oh man, I shipped out so many of those books.
Yeah. I do want to get to, obviously Marvel will be a big big topic conversation here. If I can get to Marvel somewhere. Here we go.
What would have been the biggest Marvel book of 2022? Oh, is it? It's not a Doctor Strange book, is it?
Marvel?
Yeah.
Marvel did have some books in their top selling list. Let me rephrase that. Marvel characters appear in multiple books on the top 750, but only one comic published by Marvel Comics is in the top of the list. The Deadpool manga, Miles Morales Shockwaves, which is by Scholastic, Penguin Classics, which reprinted Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four Full Circle, the Alex Ross book, that's published by Abrams. Again, that's not published by Marvel Comics. All those are in there. The only book in the I actually don't even have a number here. It doesn't even say but it is in the top 750. It's in the top charts, but it's pretty low. What is the book?
Is it a team?
No.
Okay, so it's a single character.
It's a single character.
Is it an omnibus?
It's an MCU related. So this is units, not dollars. So this is an MCU related character. I'll give you that at least.
Is it an omnibus?
No, it is not. No. It is not dollar sales. It is unit sales.
No. Was it an omnibus?
I'm saying omnibuses would never make these charts because they're too expensive. I mean, I guess they could, but they're never going to.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to see if any of those hit the mark. And it's something
came out in 2022 that might get a book in the top sales.
TV, was it like streaming or theater?
That's a good question. TV.
Okay. It's that Vision of Wanda book.
Narrow it down a little bit, and it's not Vision related.
That was 21.
Not WandaVision.
Oh, okay.
Moon Knight?
Oh.
No, it couldn't be.
Moon Knight.
Oh.
Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood, Volume 1, 17,000 copies sold into the non-direct market. So
that's a really good run.
Yeah, it's a great run.
Like,
yeah, it's
a really good
run. Yeah.
I mean, for all the grief I give Marvel, like that being your top book isn't too shabby, but that being your top book is, come on, guys.
Yeah. So Brian has had this. This has been since 2003. He's done these charts. Marvel's performance in the BookScan top 750. When it started in 2003, when he did this, Marvel had 73 titles in that list.
Graphic novels.
Right. We get all the way down to the lowest here. Looks like, 2005 only had 26 volumes or 26 graphic novels, but it stays in the 30s, 40s, 50s. In 2019, they only had 27. In 2020, they had 6. In 2021, they had 0. In 2022, they had 1. So, whatever DC, DC's not great, but they at least have some.
We've talked about it on the show before, where Marvel has had a tendency to not have in print books that should be in print on a constant basis, like Infinity Gauntlet. They've gotten better.
They are significantly better.
They're better, but like not having a lot of those titles in just having them there, I think for a long time hurt them. So them building it up, I want them to build it up and be successful, but that's a lot of titles that you just left hanging.
I mean, the direct market sales are great, and the casual, but look at the books that are selling for DC. Sandman, all the 1-volume Batman books. That's right. That's what sells.
Well, Court of Owls is not a 1-volume, but it's a.
But it's
a standalone.
It's a
story
it's
within
one
Scott Snyder's.
Yeah. So DC was number 6 as far as non-manga publishers. But they okay comparatively. IDW had a big year because of TMNT Last Ronin, which sold 66,000 copies in the non-direct market, which is big.
Wait, is that the do they count those single issues as graphic novels? Or are they talking about that hardcover?
The hardcover.
Oh, okay.
Image obviously still way down, but up slightly from 2021. Dark Horse down pretty significantly from 2021.
But did Dark Horse have more titles than Marvel?
I'm not sure. I don't have that list here. And unsurprisingly, and I'm sure it'll sell even better, Oni Press had a bit of a bump this year because of the release of A Gender Queer, which was in the back half of 2020.
Ban it!
End of 2022, right? Like kind of like start of school year.
Yeah, it was around the start of the school year, and just the explosion. Like that book was being banned in schools before it was released.
Well, it was already out, but before before the big push. Yeah. So, some interesting numbers there. I don't want to go into.
I still need to actually
crazy stuff.
Pick up a copy of that and read it. I haven't.
But yeah, some manga obviously huge, right? I mean, manga continues to dominate.
And mangas, they're doing those. Like I don't know the creator's name, but it's the horror ones where they're releasing those like kind of collected hardcover.
Junji Ito sells extremely well. Yep. Less so compared to the big ones, but we do very well with Junji Ito stuff. It's slightly aimed at an older audience, so I'm not sure how that sells in the direct market.
But those are also not volumized; they're kind of standalone.
No, they're all one-off. Yeah. So when you look at the manga that sells, Chainsaw Man, 11 volumes in the top 750. Spy X Family, I think every volume in the top 750. This is all driven by the anime. Demon Slayer. Let's see, what does it say? All 23 volumes plus the box set are in the top 750. Jujutsu Kaisen, that was every volume of that was in the top, and all 29 of the 52 volumes of My Hero Academia are in the top 750. So I mean, again, this isn't. I'm just saying the vast majority of sales are made up by a very small group of titles. But that's the same with Batman and DC and Sandman. That's the same with a lot of these things. So it's very cool to see that it's doing so well. The manga, is doing so well in the quote unquote non-direct market. But yeah, they have significant sales with those titles. So yeah, that's good stuff. Those are good numbers.
Well, and it's funny. It's like you said before. It's nice to see that, like, hey, these are selling really well, but the units on comics sell better in like a lot of cases.
With, if you just go unit to unit, they do. So, if you take that book over the course, it's only one issue, right? And I guess it doesn't work if you combined, total number of units of like Batman versus the one volume, right? Mm-hmm. But those later volumes are way down the list. The volume number 1 is way up there. So, there's not, I'll go back and pull some of those numbers and do some comparison, but it's not like there's, like My Hero Academia. If comics like stayed in print like that, like, would 29 issues of Batman be in the top selling chart? No, but it's just done in a different way. So,
well, they're different. They're different outlets, or they're different like media platforms, despite them being comic books or comic book related. It's one is single issue and more like just quick and easy and digestible. The other one is, you have the whole story, like it's more of it's collected. So they're the same, but they're not, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean with manga. It's you have all the different. Like, I just closed all the windows, or else I'd pull this up and take a look. I just had the numbers in front of me, and of course, it's already gone. That's okay. I'll look it up later. But yeah, when you take look at those titles across all their different volumes, yeah, it's pretty impressive, right? But it's not like they're selling. It's not like American Superhero Comics are selling like tens of copies or anything. So they're doing okay. They're just different markets, different models. They're doing different things.
It speaks to the single issue market is what drives the graphic novel market, right? Like, if it's selling in single issue, it's like Batman sells really well in single issue, so the graphic novels of Batman are selling very,
Yeah, well, the big Batman ones again. I bet if you were to take a look at like Diamond's top list and the top list here, they're going to be different, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of similarities. There's going to be a lot of crossover, but the new volume of Batman only sells a fraction of the number of the single issue comics. Mm. Now, the question people ask is, if Batman was released in graphic novel form only, what would it sell? And I don't think it would suddenly sell, 600,000 copies in a year. Right? I just don't think it would. It's a combination of formats. You have some audience for the single issues.
That was the word.
Some audience for the collected edition, right? So when you have something like, Demon Slayer, or something like Chainsaw Man, right, being driven by the anime, you have this incredible success of those early volumes. The later volumes sell at a significantly lower rate, right? That's how that is. Right?
That's Walking Dead. That's Saga.
Sure, and that's what we said. With Batman, Court of Owls sold, but volume 10 of the Snyder Run doesn't sell those same numbers, right? So, yeah, that's how it works. Batman number 1. What did Batman number 1 and New 52 sell? Like 500,000 copies or something like that. All right, what's the difference? It's the same thing. So, yeah. They're good numbers. They're very good numbers, but the markets are different. They're doing different things. Comics are very successful too. Like it's. I hate the argument that like, oh, it's beating it. Well, but it's different. It's not really the same thing. And manga is very fad-ish. Superhero comics have stuck around for a lot longer. We've seen multiple ups and downs in the manga industry. 80s, big boom. Dead in the 90s. Early boom in the 2000s. Boom in the early 2000s of Tokyo Pop. went out of business, completely died. I don't think we're going to see that anymore. I think manga sales are pretty consistent and will remain here. But you get a few titles at the top, and everything else sells okay. So, it's fine. I hate the argument. We're going to move on. This article went up on The Guardian in the UK. It was a fun. Sorry, I just completed my thing. Just closed. This went up on the US edition of The Guardian, wonderful UK mag. But this was a funny article. It's not funny. Part of it's very funny. The article is called "Stealing: New Allegations of Plagiarism Against Roy Lichtenstein," the classic pop artist. For those who don't know, one of the artists in the 60s, there was part of the pop art movement along with fucking who else? What the hell's his name? God, Kevin Artery, come on, what's the guy's name? Fucking Jesus.
Campbell's guy?
What are you talking about?
Cursing at me. Huh?
Warhol?
Who's the big pop art guy? Warhol. Thank you, Andy. Warhol.
Yeah, the Campbell's guy, right?
People.
Yeah.
What's that?
The Campbell's guy. The soup cans.
So for decades now, comic creators and the comic fans have been like, hey, all this guy Roy Lichtenstein did was take comic book art, make it shittier, and put it into museums and got millions and millions and millions of dollars.
So he's the original Midjourney?
Yeah, sure. It's according to him, it's like found art, right? But no, all he did was take comic art, repaint it, make it look significantly worse, and sell it. So comic people have been saying this for decades, right? But there is apparently now what the hell am I trying to say? A documentary coming out where a comic book expert, David Barcelou, he traced 300 Lichtenstein works to their original artists. He said, I thought maybe there was only 5 or 6. He did close to the originals, but it's hard to describe my feelings as I started to discover more and more over the years that his images were just direct copies. Yeah, no shit. Like, these are not new allegations. The comic industry has been saying this forever, that all this guy did was take comic art and fucking trace it and put it up in
He's a fucking tracer?
Blew up a panel. Just blew up a panel.
Yeah. Single panel. Yeah. His feel is, it's not plagiarism, right? Here's a this is a quote again from The Guardian. Author of the book Pup Art, Bradford R. Collins. He's a professor of art history at the University of South Carolina. He says it's not plagiarism, it's appropriation. With plagiarism, you're stealing somebody's work and using it for the same purpose they did. If Lichtenstein made comic books out of it, that would be stealing. But appropriation means you're taking something, you're reusing it for a very different purpose, taking something out of a comic book and making it into a painting. I can understand why we would feel angry. I would feel the same way, but artistically, it's not plagiarism. I call massive bullshit on that. Art is a painting, and a drawing and a painting are the same thing. This is artistically the same thing. Well, it's music, but it's, I made it electronically, not with guitars, so it's not the same thing. No, it's the same fucking thing, right? What is the difference?
I slowed it down.
Comic art.
I made it deep.
No, see, I put Bohemian Rhapsody as a ballet.
Dun dun dun.
I'm not stealing it because it's not rock anymore. It's ballet.
So I would
it's dun 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 dun.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Dun dun. All the 90s kids know that reference. Yeah, so I'm very...
Did they get Milli Vanilli's opinion on this?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this documentary. I want to see it. I don't... It's called Wham Blam, Roy Lichtenstein, The Art of Appropriation. So you've got that
appropriation
that
is just a fancy word for stealing.
Yeah, it very much is.
People go, I stole that. I'm like, no. You acquired it. Don't say you're stealing it. You acquired it, right? It's not colonization; it's conversion.
I definitely want to watch this, and hopefully this not only gets people to get off fucking Lichtenstein, but also gets people to realize how great comic art is. Right? You telling me this stuff doesn't belong in a museum? Dude, I've been in plenty of museums. There's a lot of shit art in there, okay? I'm just saying. I've been to a lot of like modern museums.
A lot of art museums.
Wow. There is some absolutely horrid.
See, this is where I want you to actually just hear me out. This is where I want you to actually have a TikTok and just react to the shitty art that you see in these museums. Just like, like it'd be the best.
No, I never will, but there's terrible art in museums. So we'll see. Well, I'm curious. Yeah, I have no idea when this is going to come out. Hopefully it's out soon. I'll totally watch this, and yeah, we'll see what we'll see if
see what art galleries need to do is they need to feature comic book artists more. And
well, like Rock, when I used to write that blog, which unfortunately expired because I wasn't updating it often enough. I had one from visiting a museum that had another, not Lichtenstein, another artist who I'm not even going to dignify by naming on this show, who painted, took single figures off Silver Age covers and just painted them alone on a canvas. So it's removed like the logo and everything else. You're just taking literally a single figure and it's just by itself now on a canvas.
So they magic lassoed it.
And had a whole wing of this museum of those paintings. And it was just excruciating to look at because not only were they horrible, just quality-wise, fucking horrible. Like I'd rather put a dirty diaper up with a thumbtack on a wall than this. Not only were they bad, but the plaques next to them did not even say, it just said like the Atom, right? That was the title. Uh-huh. Did not say like after Gil Kane, because he stole it off the cover of Atom #1, where he's in the Venus flytrap.
Okay.
So with no context, just imagine a random person in an art gallery with this giant canvas. It's entirely monocolor, except right in the center, there's a figure of the Atom inside of a Venus flytrap with no context or anything. You'd be looking at that like, WTF? But it didn't even say like after Gil Kane. It didn't acknowledge anything where it came from. And then I was in a museum in San Francisco. I can't remember which one it was. And there is one of this fucker's big Superman paintings in the lobby of this museum. And it's a Kurt Swan Superman that he, what's the word, Ryan? Appropriated?
Yes, appropriated.
Yes, it's a Kurt Swan Superman hanging in the lobby of this museum. Different museum now. If this is like an STD that's like migrated out of one place. And so I got a piece of paper from the desk. I asked them just if they had a piece of paper. And I wrote after Kurt Swan and put the issue number and everything like that. And got a piece of tape and stuck it on the canvas when the security guard wasn't looking. Now, I don't know. Maybe it lasted 5 minutes and somebody took it down. I don't know because I left. But at least I did my part. This guy is a hack.
Wow.
Lichtenstein is a hack and a thief. You can't even call these guys artists. I'd have more respect for the art of a 5-year-old learning finger painting in a kindergarten class than this shit. Because at least that's somebody creating purely from themselves, not looking at the work of others like a vulture and just feeding off the carcass of something else because you can't do it yourself. If Lichtenstein's so in love with comic panels,
damn, Kevin.
Ryan, this is in my top 5 comic related pet peeves.
I love it. I love it.
If Lichtenstein is so in love with comic panels, freaking get some art tools and draw your own. Draw your own then, and just do a big giant comic panel.
Well, he's very dead now, so
you know what I mean. Retroactively,
yes. You know, look, I'm not against people taking mixed media and doing collages and taking stuff and throwing it together. That's interesting. That's fine, right? But I mean, it's literally the comic panel, just some stuff stripped away, and sometimes not even the word balloon. Sometimes the word balloons come with it, and it's just like traced and put back
there's
up.
There's no acknowledgement of the letterer, of the colorist,
a little different,
of the inker, of the penciler, of the comic book. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So Roy Lichtenstein's a fucking tracer. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. But you could at least, and I mean this literally at least, just say after so-and-so and credit the original artist.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen, it's popped up on my Twitter feed at least, the Alex Ross homage to Jim Lee's X-Men cover.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep, they're doing that for the anniversary
of
the X-Men.
We're having an anniversary. Ross is doing his own homage cover, right? Like,
and that's within the industry. I mean, look, whatever. Jim Lee doesn't own the. I mean, he did own the art, the original art, sold it for a fortune. But he doesn't own the original stuff. Marvel could do whatever they want with it. That's a whole different conversation. But Alex Ross is never like, here's my wholly original idea, with that cover. No, it's an homage cover. This is a very normal industry thing and loved by people on both sides. And there's never any attempt by the company to hide it. Not like Jim Lee's not getting a penny from it. Again, that's a different discussion. But they're not trying to say that this is something Alex Ross came up with whole cloth.
Right. And if one of those Ross paintings was in a museum, I can guarantee you on a plaque next to it, it would not just say, the wonderful work of Alex Ross.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be a Comic-Con, but it's going to say like after Jim Lee or something.
After Jim Lee,
they always do.
Scott Williams, whoever was attached to it, right?
Wasn't the thinker, the colorist. Yeah, so...
Yeah, because Scott Williams has been with him forever.
I don't know who did the X-Men stuff with him.
I thought it was him.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, to put a button on that other topic. So when I wrote to the museum curator who had that wing, and I put in the email all the original covers of the paintings that are on this wall, the absolute shit crap paintings that are on this wall, that anyone who's on this show right now or listening to this show right now, if I gave you paints and a canvas and one of these covers, you could do equivalent work to what was hanging in this museum. I swear. It was garbage. And I sent her all the covers and she goes, well, in pop art, it's a long tradition of homage. And so that's why it's not frowned upon. That's why he gets a wing in this museum. A wing, you guys, not a single painting, a wing. And so I said, well, okay, then I'm going to paint a giant canvas from Steamboat Willie. And if you please hang it up. And when the Disney lawyers come calling, you can tell them, oh, it's okay. It's an homage. Don't worry about it. And her response in the email to that was literally, here's her response. I'll never forget this. LOL. That's it. The end of conversation. That pretty much sums it up.
Yep.
But yes, I would like to watch the Lichtenstein movie.
Yeah.
Williams has been inking with Jim Lee since the Uncanny Years.
Yeah, okay. I do. Yeah. Oh, we'll see. I'll keep an eye out and see when that comes up. I'd like to watch that.
It's going to be on Apple Plus. None of us have Apple Plus, so
what's on Apple Plus?
The
documentary.
It will be on Apple Plus, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. We got a couple movie and TV things to talk about here, but before we get to that, unfortunately, we have to continue our horrible trend of talking about creators who have passed away, because we are in some weird state where this just doesn't stop. I mean, obviously it'll never stop happening, but some pretty significant people have passed away in the comic industry in the last couple of years, and that is not stopping, because we lost two pretty big and unique names for extremely different reasons this past week. First was Rachel Pollack, who died. She was 77 years old. Writer of Doom Patrol, New Gods, and a few other books for DC in the 90s. Transgender. I has to be the first transgender person that worked on any major comic. Maybe there's like some Golden Age creator I don't know about, but I feel like she was mostly a writer. She mostly did novels and short stories and other stuff, but had a short and kind of, I will fully admit, right? Like a lot of people, Morrison's off Doom Patrol, I don't read the later issues, right? Morrison's off Animal Man, I didn't read too much. After Alan Moore Swamp Thing, I only read a handful of those issues, right? And those are some of my big holes that I'm trying to go back and fill those issues in, because I know they're good people. They're good creators that have worked on them. So I've only read a few of her Doom Patrol issues. But created one of, if not the first transgender characters in comics as well. Very close friends with Neil Gaiman. Obviously, he had tons of things to say about her. Had been sick for a little while. Also created the Vertigo Tarot deck with Damon Keegan. So I had no idea that she did that. That's interesting. I guess they made a bunch of tarot decks and she did the Vertigo one, which is one of my prized possessions. I love that thing. I'm not a tarot guy, but the art's incredible. It's Damon Keegan.
Yeah, don't rub it in. Moving on.
We'll get one eventually.
We'll
all have our own copies.
Her Doom Patrol, or by Richard Case and Tevin Keever, very, very talented people. So, and the omnibus finally came out. It was originally solicited years ago, canceled, but that's now recollected. So, yep.
So are people burning other collections of DC Vertigo books now?
I hope not. I assume no Senate Republican knows who this person is. So no one's gotten mad enough yet.
This fucking.
But if there are a number of, obviously now at this point, quite a few number of transgender comic creators. In 1990, if there was another one, I'm unfamiliar. And again, prior to that, maybe there was, but I'm not familiar. So, very groundbreaking creator. Also, and this was this just today. I think he actually passed away a day or two ago. But Al Jaffee, who was legendary cartoonist, died at the age of 102, among all sorts of things that he created. Worked with Patsy Walker on the early Patsy Walker comics, Ziggy Pig and Silly Seal, some of the early comic funny animal stuff. Will forever be known as the man with, I believe, Kevin just stepped away for a second. Hopefully he's going to get a reference book. I'll ask him when he comes back. I believe is still the longest running comic creator of all time on a franchise. Worked on Mad Magazine from 1958. Started in 55, left very shortly, came back in 1958, and worked on Mad Magazine until 2020. And Kevin, if you can confirm, I believe, worked on Mad Magazine from 1958 to 2020. Missed one issue.
Oh yeah, there was. Is that correct? Something like that. Yeah, you're not far off. Or I mean, you may be exactly right.
I believe he missed one issue.
Yeah.
From 1958 to 2020, and is the longest. And they just, so it wasn't like someone else did the thing for him. He created the back cover fold-in gag.
Oh yeah,
this, Brock. You know what this is, right?
Yeah. It's an art. It looks cool, but when you fold it in, it completes the joke, right?
Becomes something else, right? He created that, and I will, again, something I should have looked up before we started talking about this. I believe did not do them in one issue, and I just think they just didn't run it in that issue. So not like someone else stepped in and did it for him. Incredible run. Work. I think it said he was working up till he was 99 years old, which is just, and that's when Mad Magazine kind of sunsetted, and they're in reprints now, except for the covers. Incredible cartoonist. A career very few, if anyone, will ever match.
Not to mention just the guy grew up in the roaring 20s. He had his teens in the Great Depression. He was in his 20s during World War II. This guy lived through.
Yep, born in the 20s.
A lot.
Born in 1921. Yep, born in 1921. Yeah, his earliest stuff started working on military kind of gag comics and stuff. So which was popular at the time. Worked with Stan Lee at Timely Comics, and then went on and did Mad for forever. So a lot of those early and important Mad people, it's not many left. Knock on wood, but Sergio, someday, he's kind of the last big one, I think. I don't have to sign anyone else. It's like the big Mad creators. Look, and this is another one of those things where I'm not like some Mad, aficionado. Like, I've read Mad a ton when I was a kid. It was super fun. I never read it every issue. I never collected them, but I totally picked up like Mad and Cracked and all those. They were really fun, and the whole like folding comic thing. It's incredible. Like, that is I
always used to try and fold it and not bend it.
Yeah, it's impossible. Right? I did the same thing.
No, you could do it. You have to curve the back.
Yeah,
right. You have to bring it so it curves and makes like a teardrop, and it won't bend.
Well, whenever we get collections of Mad, I'd say it's 50-50 whether that back cover has been creased or not, to the fold.
Like,
so
if you're CGCing it, if it's not creased, like, that's your 10. If it's creased, it's a 9.8.
You know what I need when you guys get Mad items in is what I used to love. As I used to read Cracked as a magazine more than Mad, just because I used to see it more. It was more available the places that I went. But what I used to love as a kid from Mad were the little paperback books of the cartoonist Don Martin. Oh man, that was it's still funny now. I don't know how funny it would be to read it now, but just think back, I used to literally LOL at those Don Martin cartoons from Mad. But if you guys ever get those in, the little paperback like pocket book.
I know. Yeah, I know it's there. Yeah.
Those
were I can see it. I can see it in my a company called Chronicle Books published a 4-volume collection of the El Jaffee fold-in back cover. It's in 2011, so those are out there. I'm sure you can find them. Unfortunately,
is that book all folded up?
Or is
maybe you fold it? Is it one here and one here? Like, it shows you on either side, so you don't fold it.
That'd be cool too. In 2016, the Guinness Book of World Record
did it that way.
Officially named him as the world record holder for longest career as a comic artist. This is from an article in ICV2 back in 2016. Jaffee's worked continuously as an artist from his first publication in Joker Comics in December 1942 through the April 2016 issue of Mad Magazine, a record of 73 years and 3 months. And that's when they gave him. And he worked through 2020, so you can add 4 more years to the end of that. So I don't know how Dave Sim going to hit that. Is Dave Sim going to hit 77 years working? He's
Eric Larson, Savage Dragon.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many. Sim's got to be the closest. So can't think of too many that are.
Oh yeah, you'd have to put Charles Schultz in that. If you're just listing the longest. I don't mean he's beating Jaffee. I mean, just if you're making a list of the longest tenures.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of when his first to last trip was. Yeah, it's gonna be close. All right. A couple quick media things before we wrap up here.
Quick, you need me to time?
No, you got to time the listener question, Brock.
And we do have one listener question too. We'll get to that as well.
We're timing it at 100 minutes.
First, this was announced and released almost immediately. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is now available on digital streaming. So it's still technically in the theater, released like 3 weeks after theatrical release. That tells you how bad the new Shazam movie is doing, unfortunately. This is not news other than just to say, wow, that's real bad and real quick. We talked about it a few weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunate. Hopefully it does okay on HBO Max, and
the window from theater to home is shrinking.
I already pre-ordered the Mario Blu-ray. Pre-orders went up the day before it came out.
Yeah.
in theaters. Like
John Wick 4, their pre-orders were up like a week or so after.
Yeah. But actually on streaming within 3 weeks is pretty fucking fast. Mario won't be on streaming in 3 weeks.
Did you see Mario?
Oh, fucking, it was amazing. I did. Hell yeah. It was so good.
Am I the only one who repped the Dungeons and Dragons fandom here of this group?
Yeah, I didn't see anything this past weekend.
So D&D, you can maybe tell me, we'll go slightly geek bucks here for a second, but you can tell me, look, I love D&D. I grew up playing D&D and played it for years. Yep. I don't play anymore just because I don't have the time, but I still greatly appreciate it. The trailer looked horrid. Like, absolutely horrible. It looked like Thor Ragnarok. It looked just bad jokes. But everyone has told me it's really good. Yeah, it's really funny. Mm-hmm. That's what people are telling me. An absolute love story to D&D.
I would compare it. I like the comparison I'm about to make. I like this other movie better, but just to give you an idea, I would say it's like the fantasy version of the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
I like that Star Trek movie a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't like this as well as that. But if this had come out, if I had seen this when I was 12, or even, I think I played my first D&D game maybe at 10. No, it was middle school. So let's say 12. I would have thought this was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
So just go in with that. Just go in like that. Don't go in with the critical adult eye of like picking things apart.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
my roommate watched it and he said it was just fun. Like it didn't take itself too seriously.
Super clever. The writing is super clever as far as like leveling the challenges of the story. It's not just joke, sword fight, spell, joke, sword fight.
That trailer,
I know, dude. That trailer looks horrible.
Okay,
yes.
So I'm not.
No, you're not crazy. The trailer.
That's not me. That's not
the movie. Is vastly superior to the trailer.
So,
because that trailer looks like Thor Ragnarok, right? I mean, they just 100% tried to make it look like Thor.
A lot of that stuff was like a lot of trailers are being cut a certain way because
they even have Led Zeppelin in the trailer.
Yeah, I know, but I think trailers are being cut a certain way because it seems to get people excited. That
of course,
right? They're cut a certain way now. I was just
they're always cut a certain way.
There's a mimic in here. What the?
No, but I'm sure they knew what they were trying to lead into with that trailer, and that was the wrong thing to lean into for me. So, okay, I will, Kevin. I trust your opinion.
It's totally fun.
I will see it.
You're not going to walk out and go, "Oh my god, I've just seen the light from heaven. I know what cinema is." But it is a completely fun tribute to that game and super clever movie. That's all.
Sneak. I will very quickly for Brock. I will very quickly give you my Mario take. Only because this is kind of what I said on Twitter. You could make a better Mario movie, of course, but considering its Illumination with Chris Pratt, Jack Black, Seth Rogen, released in 2023. This movie has no right to be as good as it is. If you're a fan of Super Mario Brothers, the games, like your kids will fucking love it. And if you're a fan of Nintendo, you will I think you would like it a lot. Although I know some people that didn't, and I am now severely questioning their opinions.
Well, like for me, it was one of those things where I'm not going to rush out to see it, but I was probably going to take my kids like this weekend.
Your kids will love it. Kids will love it.
They haven't been in the movies in a while, so it's like that's the movie. I'm like, all right, I will go see that.
Your kids will love it. If for the Gen Zers or elder millennials, there's a couple things in there for you. The music is firmly aimed at the adults. It's not a bunch of shitty modern music that I would expect in an Illumination movie. The jokes are not a bunch of like fart jokes. Like it's not dumb kid humor. It's really good. It's very, very clever. Highly recommend. I pretty much. I mean, it's basically an A. Like I said, they could have made a better movie. Absolutely. That's just, they could have done stuff and been more accurate to the games in some fashions. But considering who made it in the year we are in, it's
well. I mean, Seth Rogen's doing that
unbelievably good. Yeah, and I had a big talk with Toby about this. I thought that Turtles trailer looked like garbage, and that's everything I don't like in animation. I think it's a bunch of dumb jokes. It's a bunch of fart humor. It's just dumb. It's horrible music. It's just all sorts of like just quick, hyper like just sugar rush induced. Like just
hey, I like Sugar Rush. Wreck-It Ralph was great.
You know what I mean? It just feels like, Mario is not like that at all. It's quick. It goes quick, but that Turtles trailer, not my thing.
Yeah, because I'm either going to take them this weekend or next week because we're on break next week. So
yeah, it's the biggest animated opening movie of all time. So it's going to be busy. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks at the theater for Mario. But yeah, no, totally go see it. It's great. Final topic before we get out of here.
We still have listener questions.
Oh, we do have a listener question, of course. It's right here on my screen. I got it. I'm ready. It may be many years away. Talks have been light. But James Gunn and Marvel have had conversations about a Marvel vs. DC movie. We could get this, boys. It could happen. It could happen in our lifetime. No time soon. Direct quote here. This is from Empire Magazine and Variety. He says, I'm certain that's more likely now that I'm in charge of DC, but who knows? That's many years away, though. I think we have to establish what we're doing at DC first. I'd be lying to say that we haven't discussed it, but all discussions have been very light and fun. I want nothing more than James Gunn to get DC on track. I think Marvel probably wants them too. This is just like the comics. A healthy Marvel and a healthy DC are good for both of them, right? They both kind of, people get excited for the other. But we may actually get it. There's a chance that we could get that Marvel vs. DC movie, and how amazing. Could be fucking nightmare. Could be terrible. I don't know. But the fact that we were that much closer.
You know what it's going to be, right?
I'm hopeful.
It's just going to be amalgam. They're just going to do amalgam. And
I mean, that'd be fun.
All they're going to do is just amalgam.
That could be a fun part of the movie. Sure.
Yeah, if you've established all of those characters, you have to establish all of those characters.
The Just Imagine Stan Lee characters.
Oh, we'll see what ends up happening. But again, don't get too excited. Not like anything's going to happen anytime soon. But there have been talks. It's on the board. Kevin.
Just
come on, excited.
No. You know what my nomination would be? I don't want to see a versus with like two big giant groups of heroes battling each other.
Well, they always fight at the beginning.
I know, but
that's how the stuff
go small. Do like Batman, Captain America, like those crossovers where it's just like
a
very
shots?
Focused. Yes, not a universe versus universe massive thing. Of course they're going to do that. Of course, I know that.
Oh! All I picture is fucking Henry Cavill and Chris Hemsworth like going at it.
And the trailer ends with two giant groups of heroes like coming towards each other. Right?
At the end of Challenge of the Super
Friends, it's going to look like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what they should do, I'll take your idea a little further, Kevin. What they should do is they'll have 6 1-hour specials on each platform. It culminates in a theatrical release movie where they all come together.
Well, see, here I'm going to say a statement I don't get to say that often. Brock, that's a good idea. Because then you can the two platforms feed each other, Disney Plus and HBO.
Yes, so it's like, but this is the problem, right? Is who goes first?
They flip a coin. They do it. It's like a wrestling. It's like pro wrestling. You do it.
It's either flip a coin or you go alphabetically, right? Like, or whatever. But
no, it's like the event. You have an event with Kevin Feige and James Gunn flipping the giant ceremonial coin.
That works. But yeah, like if you have those mashups, right, where you have 6 on one side, 6 on the other, right? So 6 DC characters go over to Disney Plus, 6 Marvel characters go over to whatever the fuck HBO Max is going to be down that far advanced. And then it culminates in a theatrical release movie that then is released 1 month afterwards to stream everywhere.
Well, you know what? What would actually, I don't think they would do that. I think they would just have the movie. But what would be fun if they did that, if they went back and forth between Disney Plus and HBO Max, is the thing is, one gets the first one gets the one that leads directly into the movie, which is more important.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is both companies get at least 6 months of people subscribing to, because you could draw this out for 6 months. Right?
Dude. No, see?
Six specials?
You do JLA Avengers, because the whole thing is a fetch quest. So each episode is just going after a different item. And then it feeds into the giant finale.
Well, there was, again, we'll get into Geekbox territory here. They had all the Star Wars stuff this weekend. And the wrap-up of all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows is going to be a movie. And I feel like they're just making the same mistake with the MCU. That this stuff sounds cool until you realize, I have to watch 2 shows on 2 streaming platforms, 2 different streaming platforms to understand this movie. I'm going to pass on the whole thing. Yeah. So it sounds fun.
That's why it should be like standalone things. Yeah. Everything's standalone, right? Like you could technically, you don't have to watch it all, but it's standalone.
The problem with that is they would never do that first. They do that after, because if it sucks, the movie tanks, you're ruined. You start the movie first because everyone's going to show up regardless of quality. You do the movie and then you can do the spinoffs. So that's how you do it.
No, you take the risk. Got to be risk. You got to risk it. You got to just go for it.
I mean, I would not want that. I would want the
No, shut up. You would watch them both anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Of course.
I don't want that.
This is from Christopher. This is from Christopher on Patreon. This is from a couple of weeks ago, so thank you for your patience, Chris. We just had some the last couple of episodes we were doing other stuff. He says, but with the and I don't know, I have not looked at the follow-up, Kevin or Brock, maybe you guys know. But with the news and arrest of Jonathan Majors, the guy that played Kang, and we did talk about this, but I have no idea what the current status of this is. And accounts of his toxic behavior being exposed, do you think Disney will pivot away from Kang and maybe push Doom to be the new main villain in the upcoming movies? I can't help but wonder if Kevin Feige reaches out to the people at DC who've had the experience dealing with shithead actors such as Ezra Miller and Amber Heard. Your thoughts? Thanks for everything. For all my fellow listeners, if you're going to read one thing this year, read Batman One Bad Day, Ra's al Ghul. It's a top 5 story that I've ever read. It's like 2 away on my list. I got to read it. It's, coming up
that's the
final, the Tom Taylor.
That was the very last one, right?
Yeah.
I still have Clayface because I just finished Catwoman. So I have Clayface, and is there somebody else besides Clayface and Ra's?
Isn't there Penguin?
Yeah, there's
no, that one was before Catwoman.
Oh, in order, you mean? Oh, yeah, I don't know.
It's over here. I guess I can.
So at least as far as Ezra Miller goes, I mean, their behavior is public record at this point, and hopefully we got the treatment needed and going to therapy and becoming better. It's tough to know. I'm not even going to go into Amber Heard.
Amber Heard is a dumpster fire on top of a shit show on top of another dumpster fire.
That is one opinion. That is one opinion people have. Correct. That is one opinion people have with Amber Heard. Correct. Jonathan Majors, tough to tell. Look, a lot of actors are shitheads. A lot of actors are assholes. It doesn't seem to affect too many of them. Might be slightly different with him, but are they going to pivot away from him? No, not in a million years. No.
They've like, for me, when I saw that news, I was like, huh? And then I read a little bit more on it, and it seems like it's kind of I didn't read fully, but it's like he said, she said stuff. Like there didn't seem to be like the track record like Ezra Miller, where it was one thing after another, after another, after another. This kind of seems like this is either the first time or like I said, you prefaced this with that you haven't looked into it. I haven't looked into it since, but it was just like he was more accused of something, but he has like proof against it. I don't know.
Yeah. No. That's all. Yeah, his lawyer came out originally and said that it was she already backed away from it. She already said it didn't happen, but they had to arrest him just because of the original accusation. But clearly, to the best of my super quick Googling, there's been no significant update. We don't know.
Well, plus he's not on screen again for another 2 years.
Yeah,
something like that.
Unless he was supposed to have something in
post-credit stuff
Marvel,
and other things.
Yeah. Well, to answer the question, like assuming that it was something, you obviously don't hope for anything bad, but assuming that it was something truly bad, I don't think that they retcon everything and make it Doom. I think they cast another actor as Kang and just say, here's the other variant from Universe X, and you just move forward with your same plan.
Yeah, there's been no word from Marvel. Obviously, that's something they're not going to deal with for a very long time, if ever. And no. He was
the PR thing
released
is
from
we
jail.
can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
Oh yeah, he was immediately released jail, and we'll prove his innocence. So that's about all we can do.
Well, no, he's innocent until proven guilty.
That's what I just said.
You said he has to prove his innocence.
He's going to. He is going to prove his innocence. Right? He has the receipts, as I say. He's got records, and he's got notes from texts and emails and stuff that clear this all up. So with Ezra Miller, it's a very different story. There was never any. It was just all stuff that was acknowledged happened, and seeking help. Amber Heard, all he said, she said. I've seen nothing that seems like Warner Brothers is going to back away from her. There was rumors that she was cut complete from Aquaman 2, but I don't believe that's true. There's nothing official. Best of my knowledge, best that I've seen, she's still fully in the movie. So,
well, I mean, that's the same thing with Ezra, right? It's like he's still the Flash, so there's the movie's still coming out. Like,
it
finished Aquaman. Like Aquaman 2 has been done filming, so They could. I don't think they could cut her out of the movie. I think she's a pretty important part of the movie. They could trim stuff. They could maybe not ask her to come back, but I don't think that's any. You know what? You know what's going to be the true test? What she does on the press tour.
Sure. I mean, that's the test for all these people, right?
But it's kind of the truth. Like, are they going to be on the press tour?
Probably. I would assume so. Yeah.
Who, Ezra or Amber Heard?
Either, because
I didn't know when you said they. I didn't know if you meant Ezra Miller or referring to multiple.
Either Heard or Ezra, either one. Because I know Flash is pretty soon, right?
Yeah, June. Yeah, so they'll do something. I'm sure, but could be more minimal. Could be more more quiet. But I don't know that Amber Heard's necessary to be a major part of it. I don't think she's not the main character of the movie, but I expect she'll be there. I don't think they've cut her. I would not believe. Speaking of shitheads, I would not believe shithead YouTube channels and horrible fake comic journalist sites. So if you want the real news for comic books.
But which wouldn't be any of these topics. None
of these topics would be covered because none of this is comic book
publication news. Comic news.
Yeah.
If you just want the real news about comic books, you go to justcomicnews.com. That's where they publish just comic news.
How are your numbers? Is it growing?
Numbers for what? Just I don't know. You have to ask the people behind Just Comic News. I have no idea. Don't know. You should ask them. You should ask the wonderful people at Just Comic News. I'm sure they'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
When is Just Comic News first top 10 list?
Never.
How about top 15?
That's what they tell me.
Okay.
They tell me. Never,
I can't.
Never.
You know what? I can't wait for comic book news to do. What is it? Those old, like those old. Who should play the character things? Right?
It'll Wizard, Wizard.
Yeah, like Wizard. It'll be right after the first TikTok. It'll be their first TikTok will be a top 10 list. Okay,
all right.
That I will guarantee you.
Oh man, I can't wait for somebody to like start cutting comic book news feeds together and putting music over it and all that shit. And Ryan all of a sudden gets all these people commenting. That's how you got to blow it up, man. Blow it up on TikTok.
It won't be just comic news. That'll be fake comic news. Okay, the new site coming soon to you. Soon, fake comic news.
Oh, so you're gonna run the anti one too?
Okay,
get him coming and going, man.
That's a wonderful, wonderful episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. We teased it a little bit last week. Teased it a little bit again this week. Slightly different episode. Next week,
barring like a major comic news story, right?
Barring, I mean, but a portion
of
next week's episode will be a special a special episode, a very special episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. Maybe there will be a bunch of normal news. Maybe there'll be a bunch of other stuff on top of that. Who knows? We'll find out next week. But at least a part or possibly all or a good part of next week's episode will be something very different, very special. So please
you'd think
join us.
You'd think you'd be better at this, right? Like this would be more like Doomsday's appearance, right? Like boom.
Yeah.
Boom,
yeah.
Right. Like that's kind of the like
if all goes according to plan, the episode will actually be available a little bit early too. So look for a nice Monday AM release of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast for your drive time listening pleasure.
For that Monday morning commute.
Yeah. Hopefully, it should be. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Garfield.
The operative word here is if everything goes according to plan. That statement is doing a lot of heavy lifting. All this entire conversation. That statement is like the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey. It is like towering over everything. So,
what are you doing, Ryan?
Staying on target. But for now, we can thank our top tier Patreon backers. That's the Lowdown with Luke and Derek on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you for your support, as well as the rest of our top tier Patreon backers: Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson. I forgot you Craig. Message me again.
You missed it.
I have to edit it in to fix. You have a podcast. I need to promote your podcast as well. Please message me again so I do this, because I will completely forget the second I stop. But I will forget the second I stop this. Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum
Ryan,
Podcast.
by the way, to all of the every name you're just reading, all of our and I know there's more, but to all of them, submit questions. It makes it more interesting than just the news stories. All of you who are on there, there's a portal for it, right? Or a place to write it.
Yep. On Patreon, top post, it's a sticky post on our Patreon feed. If you want to go over there, you can leave us a question in the Q&A thread. If you can't find it, it should be there. I mean, I checked; it's there.
His podcast. I found it.
Maybe update it or something, but it's there.
Give me a second. I will have the name.
Thank you also, to everyone. To everyone that supports us at patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Go to comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcast to view all our previous episodes. You can go to comicsconspiracy.biz, pick up some stuff from us in store or for mail order. You can pick up and shop. It's all our stuff on our website and at our warehouse. Lots of stuff being added on a regular basis. It is in progress. It is being worked on. We have back issues in there. We have what would be considered back issues in there. The real back issues are coming. This is a service Comic Hub's adding pretty soon. We're going to be able to get a significant chunk of our back issues up. Again, very slow process. We're just going to be able, we have to add them, one at a time as we go. But we're going to start seeing a lot of back issues up there in the next couple of months. So keep an eye out for that. Check out conspiratorrock.com, Brock's blog. You can go visit him over there and see what he's up to. Charlie's podcast, Wanders in the Fourth Dimension, all about Doctor Who. Kevin has a weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. My wife, Leanne, you can see her artwork at leannehill.com as well as etsy.com/shop/leannehillart. And please follow us all on Twitter. Ryan Higgins Ryan is myself. I'm sorry, on Titter. Ryan Higgins Ryan. See, that's the new name of Twitter now. Titter. He crossed out the W on the sign, so now it says Titter. Elon Musk is a child, is what I'm trying to say. Ryan Higgins, Ryan, Brock Sager, Toby, XI is Toby, Charlie is Insanity and Chaos, Kevin is that Kevin Sharp, in the store is Comics Con Store. Just Comic News is Just Comic News. If you want to follow Just Comic News, you can find it there. Oh, the biggest news on Just Comic News today, Clover Press is reissuing the first 6 Dick Tracy hardcovers of what is it, LOAC, what is it, the American
Library
Comics,
of American Comics,
Library of American Comics collections to match the other volumes from IDW. The first 6 volumes are released as digest size, like not digest, the smaller size. The rest were released at a bigger size. So they're reissuing those first 6 volumes to match the later volumes. And it sounds like, from some of their press releases, that there's going to be more stuff coming, which might be the entire Dick Tracy library back in print through Clover Press, which I'm super excited for, because I didn't like those small volumes, and then I picked them up, and then they immediately switched over to the larger volumes, and I hated the size difference, and then I missed one, and I was like, fuck this, I'm not going to get these anymore. But now, Brock, I can have the whole dick in my hand. Okay, the entire.
Could it all fit in your hand at once if you got all of it?
29 dicks in my hand. Okay.
Your dream has been realized.
Hard dicks in my hand. Okay.
It only got till 2023. 29, you finally
29 hardcovers. Just for you, Brock. Just for you. I think you're muted. You think you're still muted?
He's laughing too hard.
Muted. Still muted.
Oh yeah, I was muting to make sure of something.
Still muted. Okay. Cool.
I'm not muted now.
Okay.
All that dick. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Geekbox Podcast. Geekbox Podcast. We'll talk all about Mario next week, and Manga Machination, the friends over at Manga Machination,
and Executive Evolution with Craig P. Anderson. That is the name of his podcast. It's at Clear Path.
That doesn't sound right.
Coaches.com. Executive Evolution.
Called?
Executive Evolution.
I got to scroll through my texts. I don't my messages. I'm not. That doesn't sound right.
On his website.
Oh, okay,
I see his goofy picture of him turning his head sideways with the suit on with no tie.
Nice. Okay.
You don't when you're promoting.
Craig, I'm calling you
when
out.
You're promoting, you don't call out the photo as goofy. Come on, Brock.
Suave.
I keep it real here, man.
That's East Coast casual, man. Come on.
Okay, Brock, you're off the marketing team.
Damn it. And I had such a good idea on this podcast.
That's it. We're done. We'll catch you next week. Again, look for an early episode. Fingers crossed. Early episode. Knock on wood. Early episode. And we'll see you then. Bye.